Good morning, America. For our viewers in the West, extreme weather on the first day of spring, Department of Education on the chopping block, and news for first-time homebuyers. Breaking overnight, a dangerous start to spring. 8 tornadoes reported in Illinois. Powerful winds spark a massive explosion in Indiana. Blizzard conditions in Nebraska. Strong winds fueled dozens of wildfires across the South. Plus the storm heading for the Northeast, Ginger tracking it all.
Set to shut down. The president is expected to take action to eliminate the Department of Education. How it could impact students and financial aid for college. Now the protests popping up in corners of the country.
Plus, 100 schools in one district are closed right now due to the massive teacher protest happening this morning.
Breaking overnight, the man questioning the disappearance of the American college student in the Dominican Republic returning to the U.S.
The Delta plane that flipped on its back after landing. This morning, the new report on what we can learn about the moment leading up to the crash.
Defending his decision, the Los Angeles district attorney on his push to keep the Menendez brothers behind bars, and the one way he would possibly reconsider.
The top cities for first-time homebuyers. I've got your real estate reality check this morning.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, here we go. 1, 2.
It's go time.
2 seconds, and there's the knockout punch.
Overnight, X marks the spot with Xavier taking down Texas.
Adebayo unleashed.
Mount St. Mary's sets up a date with Duke, plus a huge comeback for the Cyclones and the fiancés who are both headed to the big dance. We have all the action as we wish a very happy birthday to this action movie legend, Bruce Willis.
Live from Times Square, it's Thursday. Good morning, America.
Happy birthday to Bruce Willis.
Yes.
Good morning to all of you at home. Got a lot going on this Thursday morning and a pretty good crowd.
Yes, someone skipped school to be here. We're not telling anybody, though.
The assistant principal was just watching.
Perhaps some spring breakers, which would be apropos since this is the first day of spring. Lara will have the latest on Bruce Willis, and Will Reeve is here with everything March Madness this morning as teams and fans are gearing up across the country for the first round.
We are excited about that. Also ahead, we're going to break down the Fed's decision on interest rates. It has big implications. Even if you own a home, maybe you're not buying, you want to refinance, or you're looking to buy. Big things happening ahead.
Affects the whole economy. We're going to begin with the severe weather. Tornadoes and blizzard conditions in the Midwest. Strong winds fueled dozens of wildfires across the South. Meteorologist Greg Dutra from our Chicago station WLS is in Highland, Indiana. Good morning, Greg.
George, weather whiplash here in the Midwest as for the second time in under a week, tornado sirens blaring across America's heartland, 70-mile-per-hour winds bringing down this tree onto the house that has been standing here for over a decade. And now this morning, folks dealing with snow and damage on their morning drive.
Overnight, terrifying tornadic activity across the Midwest. 8 reported tornadoes in Illinois. Debris flying at cars on the interstate. Here in Indiana, wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour, taking down power lines, leading to this massive explosion. Sparks lighting up the night sky as firefighters arrived on scene. Multiple tornadoes hitting late in the afternoon.
I just saw the roof standing up and going up in the air.
Crews clearing train tracks after winds ripped this roof off a warehouse.
It was really bad. It was scary.
Winds taking down trees. Sarah Lewis raced to her mother's home in Highland, finding the tree that had been in their front yard for decades toppled over.
The whole tree was uprooted that, I grew up with, and everything was on my childhood home, and it's very devastating.
In Nebraska, blizzard conditions leaving roads covered in slick black ice.
There he goes, jackknifed. Wow.
Cars and tractor trailers spinning out, ending up on the side of the road. Dry and windy conditions leading to wildfires. 38 fires broke out in Arkansas. In Texas, a wildfire burning through Sam Houston National Forest, prompting evacuations.
Well, it certainly feels surreal doing this exact thing 2 times in a week, from tornadoes to snowfall, but it is just part of life in the Midwest as we deal with these early spring storms that so often bring severe weather followed up by snowfall. Back to you in New York, Rebecca.
All right, Greg, thank you. And Ginger is here tracking that cross-country storm, which is on the move. Hi, Ginger.
Hey, it had so many parts to it, right? So many modes of weather, but dust and dust-causing accidents was one of them. Look at it, that big low-pressure system with the white there, that's the cloud cover, but you see that little brown area, that's the dust being picked up from the plains, put right over Arkansas, Missouri, and Illinois. You saw it on roads shutting down places in northeastern Arkansas. You also saw it with the skyline there in Chicago. Stunning to see. And now this thing is charging east. It's got 20 to 40 mile per hour winds, so anywhere from Atlanta up to Washington, D.C. and New York City. It's going to be a really windy day. It's not going to be severe weather, but it's going to be the kind that's like tough to get around. And then you'll see some rain coming through with the actual front. Baltimore, Washington, D.C. We stopped it at 4 p.m. Then tonight, closer to 9, New York City, most of New Jersey. Overnight, it's Connecticut into Boston. It looks like it stays rain now, but tomorrow, behind all of this, it is cold. Lindsay?
Where is spring? I thought it was here officially on the calendar.
The calendar and the atmosphere not working together this
got
morning.
it. All right. Thank you so much, Ginger. Now to the Trump administration's immigration crackdown as it escalates its attacks on a federal judge in the legal battle over the deportation flights of hundreds of Venezuelans. Our chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce is tracking the very latest. Good morning, Mary.
Lindsay, good morning. While the Trump administration this morning is facing a federal judge's deadline in just hours, the court demanding more information about those deportation flights and whether they violated the judge's order. This morning, the court demanding answers, giving the Trump administration until noon today to turn over information about those hasty deportation flights carrying hundreds of Venezuelan migrants who the White House says are violent gang members.
Our lawyers are working on this. We will answer appropriately.
But so far, the administration has been stonewalling. Judge James Boasberg says he wants specifics about when exactly the flights took off and left U.S. airspace, after the administration ignored his verbal directive to turn the planes around and return the migrants to the U.S. immediately. Boasberg writing that he's seeking this information not as an unnecessary judicial fishing expedition, but to determine if the order was deliberately flouted, and if so, what the consequences should be. But the White House escalating its fight with the judiciary.
They are trying to dictate policy from the President of the United States. They are trying to clearly slow walk this administration's agenda, and it's unacceptable.
Boasberg, acting within his authority, is examining the president's use of a rarely used law, the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, to deport the Venezuelan migrants with little to no due process. The administration insists the men deported were all gang members, but has not released their identities and provided little evidence of the threat they posed, citing privacy concerns.
We're not going to reveal the operational details of a counterterrorism operation for quite obvious reasons.
Asked if the country is nearing a constitutional crisis, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer weighing in.
Our democracy is at risk because Donald Trump shows that he wishes to violate the laws in many, many different ways.
The president even calling for the impeachment of Boasberg. And now sources tell ABC News Elon Musk, the world's richest man, has been making maximum donations up to $3,500 to the congressional campaigns of several Republicans who have publicly spoken out against Boasberg and backed calls for his impeachment. But Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska is warning of the dangers of the administration's showdown with the judiciary.
When the court's orders are defied, that weakens our courts. When the people no longer believe that the system of justice is there for them, what do we have in this country?
And now this morning, sources tell ABC News the Trump administration is considering dramatically expanding the role of the U.S. military along the southern border. The plan, sources say, includes creating a buffer zone along the border where U.S. military personnel could temporarily hold migrants who've crossed into the U.S. illegally until federal law enforcement arrive. George.
And Mary, the president spoke with President Zelensky of Ukraine yesterday.
He did, and after speaking for an hour, Ukrainian President Zelensky says he is prepared for a 30-day ceasefire focused on energy and other civilian infrastructure targets. He says he hopes this is the first step toward lasting peace. It comes after President Trump had a lengthy phone call with Vladimir Putin, the Russian president agreeing to a limited halt on strikes on energy targets, though, George, he appeared resistant to a broader ceasefire deal.
Okay, Mary, thanks. And the president is set to sign an executive order today aimed at shutting down the Department of Education. Senior political correspondent Rachel Scott is also at the White House. Good morning, Rachel.
George, good morning to you. And the Department of Education has already been gutted, but this morning the president expected to take a major step toward trying to dismantle the agency altogether. In just a few hours, the president expected to sign this executive order directing his education secretary to take all necessary steps to facilitate the closure of the Department of Education and return education authority to the states. Now, it is worth noting that most funding for public schools is already at a state and local level, and getting rid of the agency altogether would require an act of Congress, but the president is proving that he can strip it down as much as possible. The Department of Education does oversee funding to help low-income students and students with disabilities, enforces civil rights laws to prevent discrimination in schools, and oversees the process for students applying for college financial aid. The administration insists that none of those programs will be impacted, but it's unclear how. And this morning we are learning that there are protests popping up all across the country, with some teachers concerned that their students will be paying the price, George.
Okay, Rachel, thanks very much. And Rebecca, you're right here. The economy, #1 issue for everyone at home. And this decision yesterday by the Federal Reserve has huge impact.
It has a huge impact. And when voters talk about the economy, what they're really talking about is inflation and prices. And I heard this throughout the election. And it's costing that inflation, the average American family, $1,000 more a month on the same goods and services as they were spending 3 years ago. The Fed now says a good part of the inflation we are currently experiencing today comes from tariffs. The Nonpartisan Tax Foundation analysis shows that tariffs would cost households an average of about $1,000, $72 more, making everything from your groceries, your fresh fruits, your vegetables, your electronics and toys more expensive. But it's important to note the Fed doesn't expect tariffs to have a long-lasting inflation impact. The Fed chair also noted that a recession is unlikely. He expects 2 more interest rate cuts this year. That would mean lower costs for things like your mortgage, your credit cards, and your auto loans, any new auto loans later this year.
But he emphasized there's a lot of uncertainty out there.
A lot of uncertainty, and the inflation expectations have gone up in light of those tariffs.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Rebecca. Overseas now to the Middle East and Israel launching a ground operation in Gaza after a round of intense airstrikes following the collapse of the ceasefire with Hamas. Matt Rivers is on the scene for us in Israel this morning. Good morning, Matt.
Linsey, this is a major escalation in this conflict. Israel sending in ground forces to operate deep inside of Gaza for the first time in months. The IDF says its forces securing a key corridor, also operating across northern Gaza. This as Israeli bombardments across Gaza continue relentlessly. Health officials there saying dozens were killed overnight. The death toll since Tuesday morning, a staggering 500 plus people, and more evacuation orders are coming, says Israel's defense minister, saying if Palestinian civilians don't get rid of Hamas on their own, quote, the alternative is complete destruction. Meanwhile, sirens here in Tel Aviv waking us up overnight after a missile fired from Yemen was intercepted by Israeli forces before arriving. Houthi leadership, Linsey, saying their target was Tel Aviv's international airport.
All right, Matt Rivers for us. Thanks so much, Matt. Now to the latest on what the FAA is now doing to improve runway safety amid a string of close calls and incidents. Our transportation correspondent Gio Benitez is here with more. Good morning, Gio.
Hey, Linsey. Good morning. Yeah, we've been talking here all about those close calls at airports across the country. And now this morning, we know major change is coming. The FAA will now install what they call runway incursion devices at 74 airports across America by the end of next year. Now, the new technology is actually already in operation in 4 airports: Portland International, Centennial in Colorado, Austin Bergstrom in Texas, and Charles Wheeler in Missouri. Fort Lauderdale, Burbank, and Boise get it next month. Now, the new technology will remind air traffic controllers which runways are busy or closed, and they can identify up to 8 runways at the same time. Now, this is part of a 3-part upgrade, so other technology is already being installed right now. Many airports are getting some kind of upgrade by the end of this year, George.
Okay, Gio, thanks. Will Reeves here. That means it's time for March Madness.
It sure is, George. Today it's really time. Today is the day. Really yeah, it's really real. If I've been talking about it enough, I forgot my bracket. I'm all flustered. But finally, it is here. The tournament begins. What more can we say?
And the Xavier Musketeers scrapping their way to a Friday night first round date with Illinois.
This morning, the men's field of 64 is set.
Foster buries it.
Texas facing off against Xavier for a spot in the big dance.
Outside to Hunter. That's a 3.
The Longhorns pulling out to an early lead, but the Musketeers battling back in the second half.
2 seconds, and there's the knockout punch.
and putting an exclamation point on Xavier's win. Fans of all ages joining in on March Madness, including Mount St. Mary's head coach's son, Silas, warming up with the team before their matchup with American University and cheering them on courtside.
This is Hobbs. That's a three-pointer.
His dad's team defeating American University.
Adebayo unleashed.
The Mountaineers will now face Cooper Flagg and East Region 1 seed Duke.
It's just another game. It's basketball. Doesn't matter how big they are, how they're ranked, they still got to tie their shoes.
Americans' loss even more painful with the injury of their star, Matt Rogers. The 50-year senior hurting his right knee minutes into the game, but getting back on the court. Then, late in the first half, a collision sending him to the floor. Rogers clutching his leg and leaving the game. In a heartwarming moment of sportsmanship, Mount St. Mary's players lining up to embrace Rogers after the game. And on the women's side, Iowa State moving on.
Emily Ryan to close out the quarter.
Emily Ryan and the Cyclones whipping up enough points to overcome a 13-point deficit at halftime to eke out the win over Princeton 68-65. And Southern cruising over UC San Diego.
And dropping in, Lidge gets the basket.
Southern's Dakia Sanders celebrating with her fiancé and another star of the tournament, Alabama State's Amar Knox, who caught that Hail Mary pass Tuesday and laid it in for the win. Both now dancing.
All right, so now's the time. Work productivity and excitement inversely proportional. 12:15 Eastern, it gets started. Creighton versus Louisville to kick off the madness. Today through the weekend, as about as great and eagerly awaited stretch of days on any sports fan's calendar. We got two more women's first four games tonight on ESPNU. Their full tournament gets going for real tomorrow. And coming up in our next hour, I've got an interview with Missouri head coach Dennis Gates on his team's improbable and poetic comeback season. It's really a good one. I think you're going to want to watch.
Talk about a Cinderella story there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Will.
All right.
Thank you, Will. Coming up, breaking news overnight about the last person to see the college student who vanished in the Dominican Republic. Ariel Schiff has been on the scene. Good morning, Ariel.
Good morning to you, George. From a Dominican courtroom to a plane in less than 24 hours, U.S. officials appearing to step in to help Joshua Reeby get home. We'll have the latest coming up.
All right, thanks, Ariel. Plus our interview with Los Angeles DA Nathan Hochman. He tells us why he's against resentencing the Menendez brothers and the one thing that may get him to change his mind.
And new at 7:30, the best cities for first-time home buyers and the worst. I've got your real estate reality check this morning.
Do you all have Real ID yet?
No.
Me either. I thought I was the only one. Coming up, you have 2 months until we all need the Real ID. Why it's nearly impossible to get a DMV appointment in one part of the country.
What a voice. Welcome back to GMA. That is a look at the new live-action Snow White. It opens tomorrow, and Snow White herself, Rachel Zegler, is here to tell us all about it, and she'll perform live. She'll sing for us right here on GMA.
Like you said, what a voice.
Yeah.
First, new at 7:30. One of the FBI's most wanted fugitives is in custody this morning. Francisco Javier Roman Bardales was turned over to U.S. authorities in San Diego after being arrested in Mexico. Allegedly a high-ranking leader of the M13 criminal organization accused of taking part in drug trafficking, kidnappings, and other illegal activities. Also, preliminary report released this morning on the plane crash in Toronto that ended with the passenger jet flipped on its back. You remember that. Oh, yeah. Key question for this report is what was happening in the cockpit when the plane was about to land.
And NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams are recovering this morning at NASA headquarters in Houston as part of a 45-day recovery program. They returned to Earth Tuesday after their planned week-long visit to the International Space Station turned into a 9-month stay. I still have a hard time just imagining, like, honey, I know I was going to be back next week. It's going to be closer to a year.
But no mystery about where they were, though.
Right, that's true.
Right, exactly.
That's true.
Now to breaking news overnight. The last person to believe to see the American college student who vanished in the Dominican Republic is returning home this morning after being allowed to leave the country. El Reshif is in the Dominican Republic. Good morning, Ariel.
Good morning to you, George. In the span of just 24 hours, that dramatic turn of events, Joshua Reeby, just 24 hours before, in a courtroom in a chaotic scene at the mercy of a local judge, to a plane headed home.
This morning, Joshua Reeby leaving the Dominican Republic, heading back to his hometown in Iowa nearly 2 weeks after Sadiksha Kananki vanished during spring break. Reeby seen here in images from the Santo Domingo airport before departing. Tuesday, Reeby pleading with a judge in the Dominican Republic to grant his freedom, the judge ordering authorities to allow him free movement, but stopping short of giving him back his passport. Just a day after that chaotic courtroom drama, U.S. officials appearing to step in, issuing Reeby an emergency travel document and helping him to get home. Authorities believe he was the last known person to see Kananki, the 20-year-old University of Pittsburgh student, before she disappeared from the beach outside their hotel. Reeby was never considered a suspect and cooperated with investigators for days as they tried to piece together what happened. But prosecutors confiscated his phone and passport on March 8th, and his lawyers say he was confined to his hotel and surveilled by police as international interest in Kananki's disappearance exploded.
Now, of course, at the heart of all of this is the Kananki family. They have acknowledged that Sadiksha tragically drowned with no foul play, and they say through their immense grief, they want her to be remembered as bright and extraordinary, and they're asking for prayers. Guys.
A bright light, and we are thinking of them. Thank you, Ariel, for your reporting. And we turn now to the Menendez brothers. The Los Angeles District Attorney sat down for an interview with our chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman, about his push to keep the brothers behind bars. Good morning, Matt.
Hey, good morning, Rebecca. The DA sticking to his hard line on the Menendez case, insisting his interpretation of the law dictates the Menendez brothers are just not ready to be back in society and still doubting their claims of sexual abuse. And he says there was only one way that would get him to reconsider his stance against resentencing for the brothers.
This morning, as more than a dozen relatives of Eric and Lyle Menendez plan to protest outside his office, Los Angeles DA Nathan Hochman is defending rulings that would keep the brothers behind bars.
Do you believe that they deserve to die in prison?
My personal belief is completely irrelevant.
The Menendez brothers have spent more than 3 decades in prison following the 1989 shotgunning of their parents, that they say happened as a result of years of abuse from their father, Jose.
That we actually saw stuff that was lied about before the killings, at the time of the killings, and in the months and years afterwards.
Hochman stressing that the brothers have repeatedly lied and that sexual abuse was never their defense in their 2 trials.
You have said that the evidence that you have seen in the 50,000 pages of documents does not suggest that they were sexually abused by their parents and their father.
There was no additional corroboration of anyone in 12 years, whether it was another adult, a friend, a coach, a teacher, who reported recipient information that the sexual abuse occurred during those 12 years.
The Menendez family accusing the DA of being hostile and patronizing towards them.
When you look into their eyes, what do you see? Do you see all the pain? Do you see their desire to see their family members released after 35 years? Do you see their forgiveness and their understanding that the brothers have apologized and essentially come clean to them?
I do. I do absolutely see the sincerity of their belief that they want the Menendez brothers out.
The brothers' case put back in the spotlight after the limited series Monsters hit Netflix last year.
Eric and I killed our parents together.
Hochman saying there is one way he would possibly reconsider that resentencing.
If they sincerely and unequivocally admit for the first time in over 30 years the full range of their criminal activity and all the lies that they have told about it.
Like, do you want them to enumerate each individual lie? Do you have a checklist?
I actually do.
The attorney for the Menendez brothers pushing back, asserting that the brothers' resentencing ultimately lies in the hands of the judge.
Contrary to what the DA seems to be suggesting, he does not have the power. The power lies with the judge. The judge already invoked his power back in November. All of this is really performative.
The power also lies with Governor Gavin Newsom, who last month fast-tracked a parole board assessment to determine if the brothers would pose a risk to the public if released. And sources close to the brothers tell me they'll face state-appointed psychologists who'll conduct the risk analysis as early as next week and should have their first appearance before a parole board hearing in mid-June. guys.
Oh, Matt, I feel like there's always something new popping up even with this story. As long as we've been following it.
Right. Now, with a real estate reality check after the Fed decided to keep interest rates unchanged, there are a lot of questions about the housing market, and who better to ask than Rebecca Jarvis. We're lucky today because you know all, tell all from when we're talking about interest rates, mortgage rates. All right, so the Fed has signaled that there are likely going to be 2 cuts later this year. What does that mean for mortgage rates and people who want to buy a house?
Yeah, so there's a lot of interest in mortgage rates because it really can determine what your monthlies look like, which is why people care so much when they're looking at buying a home. But where mortgage rates are right now, about 6.7, 6.65%, the average 30-year fixed rate, they're not going to come down a lot from that level this year. And it's important to think about this as a slow and steady decline if they come down at all. So don't try to time where mortgage rates are to your home purchase. The most important thing you can be doing as a home buyer right now is looking at the affordability. Can you make those monthly payments? If you're not in a position to make the monthly payments at 6.65%, don't anticipate a drop later.
Okay, good advice.
And Consumer Reports has the report on the top 5 cities?
Yeah, so they're looking at the most affordable cities, the best places, especially if you're millennial or Gen Z buying your first home. Number 5 on the list, Gilbert, Arizona. It's Phoenix's coolest suburb. That's what it's been dubbed. Yeah, super cool. Okay. Number 4, Aurora, Illinois, very close to Chicago, about 40 miles out, easy walk to outdoors. Number 3, Fort Wayne, Indiana. It's the crossroads to the Midwest. You got all of it right there. It is beautiful. It is pretty. In number 2, Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Hello.
38 miles of beaches right there. Is there a beach in the picture? No, but there are a lot of beaches there. And number 1, another Virginia pick is Chesapeake, Virginia. By the way, huge millennial and Gen Z population there and growing.
Oh, it's good to know all of that, but they also ranked the worst. And I feel like we need to know that because this is, this is
so glad. Unfortunately for California, there's a lot of worse cities in California, mostly because of the prices. They're big cities, high median home prices, low affordability. Number 5, San Francisco. Number 4, Los Angeles. 3, San Jose.
You're right.
There is one in the Northeast. It's Newark at number 2. And number 1 for affordability right now is Oakland. And again, these are big cities. And when you look at the income in the city versus what it costs you to live, it's tough.
Okay, fair enough. We do have some questions from viewers that came in from social media. Tony Shamaru asks, he wants to know, will home prices drop anytime soon? Rebecca, put on your thinking cap.
Yeah, and honestly, there's a lot of research on this too, looking at what the forecasts are. JP Morgan says home prices are actually going higher this year, 3% higher in 2025. One of the biggest issues is where mortgage rates are. Most people who own their homes right now got in at 3% mortgage rates. They don't want to list their homes for sale because if they list, then they have to go buy at a higher mortgage rate, or they have to pay these really sky-high apartments. So again, don't try to time it to the market. Look at what your own individual ability is to pay for that house, and make sure you're staying there for 5 years.
And really quick before we go, Cecile Jean-Baptiste asks, do you have to put 20% down for every house?
The answer is no, but it gets more complicated if you can't, and there are some great programs that will allow you to think this through. Types of housing loans through the FHA, for example. The Veterans also has things. The U.S. Department of Agriculture, as well as some local programs at your state and local level to look into.
Super helpful.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Good information.
Playday music, and Lara's here. Bruce Willis.
Yeah, celebrating a big milestone birthday. Yes, he is. The beloved action star turning 70 years old yesterday amidst his very personal health battle. His wife, Emma, sharing this photo, calling on fans to flood Bruce with love. The actor stepped away from acting after being diagnosed with aphasia and then dementia. His eldest daughter, Rumer, posted a video. Look at that. There's her dad dancing with mom, Demi Moore, and daughter Tallulah dedicating 2 posts to her dad.
That makes me happy.
Calling him the greatest of all time. And his daughter Scout also posted a carousel of photos and a very touching video. And she wrote, "The music I make, the magic I create, the magnetic mischief eye in sight. That's my father's legacy, alive in the world. Wow. Happy birthday to Bruce Willis.
Happy birthday.
Thank you to his family for sharing beautiful, beautiful pictures and videos.
And people who remember his history remember him as such a funny, like big light
I love
guy,
the mischief.
right?
The mischief she makes. That was perfectly said.
Makes you happy. And you've got so much more. I only know the headlines. I don't know the stories in pop news. But Ed Sheeran has big news. Ted Lasso star with an update. Wait a minute. I don't even get this one. A bathroom divorce debate.
You'll get it. You'll get it.
All right.
Trust
and of course, we've got the Nashville Zoo with the cub naming coming up.
Yes. This George, how is my campaign going? We're going to get an update on that coming up, everybody. Thank you. Coming up in pop news, everyone.
Good morning, America. It's 8 a.m. Breaking overnight, a dangerous start to spring. 8 tornadoes reported in Illinois. Powerful winds spark a massive explosion in Indiana. Blizzard conditions in Nebraska. Strong winds fueled dozens of wildfires across the South, plus the storm heading for the Northeast. 100 schools in one district closed right now due to the massive teacher protest happening this morning.
The rise of concierge medicine, the personalized but pricey primary care doctor that could leave you without an appointment. Will some patients get left behind?
I was devastated. It's really hard trying to find a doctor.
Dr. Narula joins us with what you can do if this happens to you.
Slam dunk style.
But on behalf of all women, don't ever make a mistake. Looks bad for all of us.
You'll never look bad if you know where to score Kate Hudson's Looks for Less from her hit show, Running Point.
And Snow White herself, Rachel Zegler, is here with some of her biggest little fans. And they're saying, "Good morning, America!"
Live from Times Square, it's Thursday. Good morning, America.
We have a studio packed with Snow Whites this morning. We're looking forward to talking to Rachel Zegler in just a little bit.
Yes, we are. Also ahead, garden bargains to help you dig into spring. Tori Johnson's back with deals and steals starting at just $2.50.
And just ahead, of course, we've all heard about scalping tickets. Can you believe people are actually scalping appointments at the DMV? It is actually a thing. And one city is actually cracking down.
We're going to have more on that. First, look at the top stories breaking at 8. We start with the tornadoes and blizzard conditions in the Midwest. Want to go back to meteorologist Greg Dutra from our Chicago station, WLS. He's in Highland, Indiana. Good morning, Greg.
Good morning, George. It is weather whiplash out here, as you can see with your very eyes. Less than 12 hours ago, we were heeding tornado warnings out here. Now this morning, a tree that was toppled by 70-mile-per-hour winds into a home when a woman with her cats were inside. Now we are cleaning up the mess from this and dealing with snow for the morning drive. At least 8 suspected tornadoes out of this system. On the heels of a week ago, sirens were blaring, and we had 4 confirmed tornadoes out of that system. So it certainly is feeling like spring systems are back here, providing severe weather right on the heels of snowfall. So we are cleaning up early this morning, and we have to deal with a snowy morning drive out here in the Midwest. I'll send it back to you, Rebecca. Definitely some weather whiplash for sure.
Weather whiplash, Greg. Start of spring. No one wants to see it like this, but we seem to always have something. Okay, Greg, thank you. We turn now to the massive teacher protest set for this morning, prompting 100 schools in Denver to close. Kana Whitworth is tracking this story. Good morning, Kana.
Yeah, Rebecca, good morning. Calling for a statewide day of action today. Colorado bracing for a massive teacher protest that will force schools in multiple districts to close. So the protests are planned for today outside the state capitol building, and it's led by the Colorado Education Association. And they are pushing back against education cuts and claiming schools are already underfunded. The CEA says 95% of children in the state attend public school and that they have sustained cuts for more than a decade. And while many families are left scrambling, some in Denver public schools are able to utilize locations deemed innovation zones that will remain open today. And amid his proposed changes in funding, Governor Polis telling Colorado Public Radio that he supports educators making their case, but also says canceling school is not a good way to do that. Also, this is happening as several other states have seen protests over cuts at the federal level after the Trump administration's efforts to dismantle the Department of Education.
Linsey. Canceling school, certainly an unfortunate outcome there. Kana, our thanks to you. Now to something that many people dread. Me going to the DMV. In one part of the country, it has become nearly impossible to get an appointment. Trevor Alt is here with what officials there have uncovered.
Well, good morning. As if this wasn't stressful enough already. Like, everyone hates this already. But in South Florida, they have been battling these insane lines. Look at this video from our affiliate WPLG. These are people waiting sometimes overnight, camping out, and they still don't get in. And the newly elected Miami-Dade tax collector says part of the problem is DMV scalpers, because this is the hottest ticket in town. According to his office, companies have been grabbing tons of appointments and selling them for as much as $250 a pop. And some software uncovered this. They said single phone numbers were making multiple appointments, not just a few, sometimes 100 appointments. And they've been using bots, fake accounts, and this online portal to scoop them all up. And here's the thing. As of now, making multiple appointments and selling them is not illegal. Though these South Florida officials say they're going to try to make it illegal. In the meantime, they will not accept an appointment that was made through what they call abuse of the system. It's all especially frustrating as these new Real ID requirements kick in 7 weeks. A ton of people trying to get to the DMV.
Wow.
Bring a snack.
Thank you, Trevor. Coming up in our GMA morning menu, the rise of concierge medicine. One woman tells us about being dumped by her doctor 15 years unless she joined a concierge service. What you can do if it happens to you. Dr. Taryn Narula is going to break it down.
Also ahead, one-on-one with a coach at the heart of a storybook season. Dennis Gates tells us how he inspired the Mizzou Tigers.
Plus, Sam and Lara are upstairs. Sam, take it away.
I'm learning sports terms. Running point. So if you haven't got the fashion tips from this show, you're way behind. Lori B's got them. This is kind of like Kate Hudson's, and the power suit is back. So we're going to have all of these shows, the outfits you can get for less. Lara, what's going on?
What's going on? It's who's going on. Rachel Zegler is with us, everybody. She is here alongside a sea of young Snow White fans. We're so happy that Rachel's here. She's going to tell us all about the new live-action version of the classic. You're also going to sing for us. We're going to let you get ready for that. It's all coming up live on Good Morning America. Stay with us.
We're back with our GMA cover story, the rise in concierge medicine. Some say that they've been dumped by their doctors unless they join a concierge service. And if you don't join, it makes it harder to get a doctor's appointment. Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. Taryn Narula will have what you can do if this happens to you. First, she has the story.
Michigan single mom Denise Rodriguez says she was shocked when her doctor of 15 years told her that in order to continue as her patient, she would have to pay a yearly fee in the thousands.
I had to pay for that membership or lose her.
But in return, she would receive direct access to her doctor and services. It's part of a growing trend around the country toward concierge medicine, offering a more personal approach.
The membership model allows the primary care physician usually to have smaller numbers of patients and spend more time with each patient.
But that personalization comes at a price. Most concierge practices don't accept insurance, and the yearly fee can range from $1,000 to more than $10,000.
A lot of people are willing to pay often high amounts of money to have that same day access, to be able to spend an hour or more with their primary care clinician.
For patients like Denise, the $2,000 fee her doctor is charging is well out of her budget, and that cost would have doubled if her daughter joined as well.
I feel like along with having to pay for health insurance on top of that, with the rising cost of everything else, it's just not practical.
With a national shortage of primary care physicians, healthcare experts are concerned about the impact of concierge on broader patient access.
What happens to the people left behind? The patients who are unable to pay for concierge care, and the clinicians who don't want to work in a care system that only provides care for people who can pay.
Many may be left to find a new doctor in an already strained system.
I was devastated. It's really hard trying to find a doctor, and most aren't accepting new patients right now.
And Dr. Narula is here right now. This trend is really growing. Lots of ripple effects.
Yes, absolutely. You know, I think as a physician, I sort of sit at this crossroads of seeing this from multiple perspectives. And as a doctor, you know, I see about 20 patients in a day. It's a lot. And primary care see even more. And so no doctor goes into medicine to feel rushed, to feel like we don't have that time with someone to really make a diagnosis or get to know them. So it's frustrating. And I can see why a lot of doctors move into concierge. And then from the patient side, we've all been patients. You want someone who can really sit and can listen to you, who knows all the aspects of you, who can answer your call when you have an emergency, can help shuttle you to get a lab request. So you can see how concierge, this business, can rise. But it does leave a lot of patients in a lurch when their doctor basically goes from seeing them with insurance to suddenly becoming concierge.
What happens if that happens?
Right. So there's a couple things that patients can do. I think certainly asking family and friends for recommendations, also going to your insurance company and seeing who might be in or out of network. Specialists. So I get asked a lot of times as a cardiologist, who do I recommend as a good primary care doctor? And then I will say, like, big hospital networks will often have referral services, so you can contact them. But it's tough, George. I mean, this is a relationship, and like any relationship with a primary, it's really valuable. You can't put a price on it. And these are people who know you over the course of your life. They know when a mole on your skin changes and something's off because they've seen it. They know when your mood is different and when you might need to seek therapy, right? They pick up on those subtle cues. And so that loss is really profound for a lot of people. And when they're left in that space of not having someone, it feels very scary. And for a lot of patients, there are long wait times to get primaries. They can't find a primary, or they go and see somebody and they say, I just don't click with that person. So it's a really tough position that a lot of patients end up in.
No question about it. Dr. Muir, thanks very much. Linsey?
Thank you, George. Now to one of the storybook turnarounds for the Missouri Tigers men's basketball team and their coach, Dennis Gates. They are dancing in March Madness this year after going winless in their conference last year. Will is back with his conversation with Coach Gates. Hello again, Will.
Hey there, Lindsay. Last year, the Missouri Tigers won 8 games. They lost 24. They went defeated 0-18 in conference play. This year has been a remarkable turnaround. 22 wins overall, a 6th seed in this year's NCAA tournament. It's almost unbelievable, but only if you don't know Coach Dennis Gates. The story of this team and this turnaround is, as you will see, poetic.
Do what we need to do, fellas. All right? Bring it in. Let's go.
What was your message to the team as this season began, as you tried to make a comeback?
It wasn't a try in my vocabulary, first and foremost. It was a mandate that this is what we're going to do.
Last season was the worst in Missouri basketball history, but head coach Dennis Gates believed in himself, his players, and what was possible.
I think when you look at what we did the prior year, you look at my track record, you look at who I am every day, but you look at the substance. Now, the results were one thing, but the substance is a whole nother. We played like winners.
Injuries to key players played a role in last year's debacle. This year, Gates brought in some new talent from high school and other college programs, but he didn't give up on his guys, keeping 3 of last year's starters in place.
Player development-wise, we pushed them in a way that ultimately led them to some success.
Coach Gates says he teaches and lives by 8 core values.
When I look back and see how I was successful, I look at 8 core values as friendship, love, accountability, trust, discipline, unselfishness, enthusiasm, and toughness. And that is something that allowed me to get out of my environment, make way for other people, lead people.
I read that you rely a little bit on some poetry to keep you motivated. You're a Rudyard Kipling guy. Do you care to recite some poetry for us?
You can start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss. Right, that part in that poem is very essential, because what it says is you can do all that you can do, but the real avenue, the real gate to manhood or growth is through failure.
That poem, If, by Rudyard Kipling, has become a manifesto of sorts for Gates and his team. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, is how it begins. How Missouri's tournament begins tonight in Wichita against Drake, and I am heading there right now. As a matter of fact, it's going to be super tight to make my flight. But I'm out of here.
All right. If you can make your flight. I love that. And so poetic. Look at Will. All right, thank you. All right, time now for some pop news.
Also very poetic. All right, we begin with some music news. Ed Sheeran spotted in Nashville last weekend down on Broadway, hopping on stage at Tootsie's to sing for the packed crowd. He was in town to speak to aspiring artists at Belmont University and maybe to work out some final touches on a new album.
Have you been to Tootsie's?
We think so, and yes, I have. The singer taking to Instagram to announce that his 8th studio album is on the way. Writing album done, single soon. I'm very excited, as you can tell. And he was kind enough to share a little preview. Take a listen, everyone. The song is called Azizam, which is a Persian term of endearment. It means my dear or my beloved. The man is so good.
Yeah,
look, we're all bopping already. First time we've heard it.
New name for you, Sam. Azizam.
Azizam. Azizam. And also surprised fans on the streets in New Orleans earlier this week. He's a busy guy. Yeah. He was singing his new single alongside a brass band. Just popped up there, delighting everyone who saw. Yeah, that's how it is. Anyway, no word yet on a release date for the album, but we are guessing based on all of this activity. It's coming very soon, and we invite you, young Edward, to our show. Come sing for us, please. Also in pop news this morning, Brett Goldstein, who won our hearts and 2 Emmys, by the way, is the grumpy soccer star Roy Kent on Ted Lasso. He now plays a more serious role, by the way, on the hit show Shrinking. Well, he is one of the writers for both of those shows, and somehow he found time to write some material for himself in the form of a stand-up comedy special. He has been performing this show on a comedy tour since 2023. It was just picked up for an hour comedy special titled The Second Best Night of Your Life. In this special, look, we're laughing already. Brett, you got it. When you got it, you got it. Goldstein riffs on love, life on Ted Lasso, and apparently the man can also sing. He showcases that in the comedy act. The stand-up special is set to debut next month on HBO. So looking forward to it. It will stream on Max. No word yet on whether Brett will return as Roy Kent for season 4 of Ted Lasso, which we are so thrilled. It was announced earlier this month. We're so excited it's coming back. And we choose to believe, if you will, if you watch the show, you know why I'm saying it. We choose to believe that he will be back. We can confirm he's very much on board to write and executive produce. That's great news. So that is
so talented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's wonderful.
He's got to come back. You need him on that show.
He's so grouchy and fabulous.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. All right. Finally, guys, you are all very happily married. In a word, what would you say the secret to a happy marriage is, Linz?
Separate bathrooms.
Lindsay, the one thing I said does not say. I said, don't steal my thunder. Oh my gosh. Well, I guess pop news is over. There's a lot of talk lately about the secret to staying married, and as Lindsay just told you, it's called a bathroom divorce. It's the decision to say goodbye to sharing the same space in that personal way, even if it means moving out of the primary into a guest bathroom.
Yes.
Sam, you say yes.
I say yes. Do it.
Indignantly, it sounds like he really knows
you
this.
have to have separate bathrooms. You just have to.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
George is very quiet. Very quiet, trying to disappear.
I am trying to disappear.
Ali is watching you like a hawk right now. I'm expecting a call.
Ali,
watching
text us.
very closely. Well, it all came to light because Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze, they were talking about it recently. They've been married 22 years. She says it's all about respect, kindness, and yes, separate bathrooms. You guys might remember the trend we talked about recently. It was about sleep divorces.
Yeah.
Well, now there's also the bathroom divorce, and all of that will allegedly save you from the big one. So there you go. Pop news, Lindsay. Great job.
Ginger, you want to answer that question?
Yeah,
What's the best?
Dive in
What's
here?
the best?
You know what? Bathroom's not the problem. The bedroom, I was all on board with because that just makes a lot more sense.
Welcome to spring, because truly it just happened hours ago. It's the first day of spring. Tomorrow's the first full day. Tori Johnson is back with some great deals and steals for our gardening.
Okay,
Tori,
let's do
help
it.
us.
Let's do it. So we've got the Sunjoe mower here.
Yeah.
You can see super lightweight. So
That's impossible.
This is fabulous. It's cordless, and it is specifically for a small to medium-sized lawn. This lawn right here is just about perfect for it. It's going to cut a 14-inch wide path in a single pass. So it's efficient, it's easy, no gas needed.
This is unbelievable.
And it's got lots of user-friendly features to it. Super lightweight, very important to know, and it's 50% off. Thousands of positive reviews.
I want one.
Okay.
I love humming. Yeah, for the lawn.
Okay.
Yeah. I love hummingbirds. This is not a hummingbird.
That is not a hummingbird, but it is the bird that I had in house to show you this little swing here from Pop's Birding. And so they're really known for their nectar and their hummingbird seeds that they make specifically to attract those birds to your lawn. They also make these really great swings because they know that after birds feed, they like to perch.
They're working so hard. Their little wings.
Yep. So then if you want to then put one of these near a feeder, hopefully you will have the opportunity to be able to observe hummingbirds.
If you're lucky enough to attract them, do it.
Do it, exactly. These all start at just $2.50 for the seeds.
Oh, really? Can I pocket some of these? Will anybody notice?
Some of those. Right. Okay, this is the roto shovel.
Okay.
This is an automatic handheld shovel. So it's going to dig a hole for you 3 times faster than a garden spade because it's going to do the work for you. It's also got a lot of safety features, and it's going to push the dirt away from you instead of toward you, so you get to stay clean when you're digging. And if you happen to hit a rock or something that you're not supposed to hit, it's got a safety feature that's going to turn it off automatically.
Wait, this generation doesn't even have to dig holes? Like, I had to claw them with my fingers.
You could buy one too. The battery lasts for 2 hours, so you can buy it just with the single battery, double battery, 50% off, and free shipping from Roto Shovel.
That is super smart.
All right, so we need some great shoes for gardening,
garden clogs
or for any
boots.
kind of outdoor activity. These are all from the original Muck Boot Company. What's fabulous about these is lightweight. This particular style right here, this is their one-piece single clog. It's called the Super Light Muckster, and it's got slip-resistant traction on the bottom, which is great whether you're in the garden or out running some errands. Excellent support, and then comfort for all-day wear. So no matter, you can go from the garden to the rest of your day.
Then just rinse them off and wear them all day, because you know the kids wear stuff like this.
They do. 50% off and free shipping.
All right.
Okay, now we're going over here to Farmers Defense. We've got a couple of things, and I think you'll be very proud of this. We've got hats that provide full face and neck coverage.
I needed this.
Which is so important.
Last
you
week.
are big about sun protection.
Yep.
And then we also have their protective sleeves, which feel how soft these are. I don't want people to think that in the sun it's going to be too hot. It's a very lightweight, cooling, moisture-wicking fabric. I gave you a small one there, sorry.
No, it's okay. I've got tiny arms.
There you go.
But here's what I would say, Tori. You need this because
you need the full sun protection.
The sun protection. You're out there all day.
This gives it to you all slashed up to 60%, starting at $13.50. And then finally, geometry, because sometimes the garden is just what you need to bring into the kitchen. The most gorgeous tea towels. We've got a huge assortment. More than 15 designs from them today. Super absorbent, great paper towel replacement. So it's got the eco benefit too. $9.
All right, and this is like super right for spring. So we partnered with all these companies. They're gorgeous colors. Go to goodmorningamerica.com. Coming up, ladies and gentlemen, Snow White is in the house. Rachel's here, ready to sing. We'll be right back. Nice job, Tori.
Welcome back to GMA, live from Times Square.
Rachel Zegler singing Waiting on a Wish from the new Snow White movie, and Rachel Zegler is here right now. Welcome. Great to see you.
Hi.
Great to have all our little Snow Whites
The
as
best.
well. So tell us what it's like. You get the phone call to say we want you to play Snow White.
It's the honor of a lifetime. I think every young person dreams about a phone call like that. I've been lucky to have a few of those in my life, but this one is certainly extra special. As a huge Disney fan, she's the first Disney princess that Disney ever created, and in the 1937 film, to get to bring her to life in such a unique way and such a special way. It's just a beautiful opportunity. I'm very honored.
I'm in my 50s and still remember seeing it. It's such an inspirational. I don't know. There's just something about this movie. As you said, it's the classic, but you put a modern spin on it. Will you share with us how you did that?
Yeah, I mean, it's all about bridging a classic to a modern age to bring it to these beautiful young people. Her superpower remains her heart. You know, that's always been at the core of this story. It's the core of the Disney company, and it's not supernatural. It's truly just her kindness, and we make sure that we bring that to an attainable version for young people to understand.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I still, when I see that clip and that voice comes out of that, I can't even believe a person can make that beautiful of a sound. But you mentioned, you know, being a Disney kind of like fan.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine that you were a Disney kid, because almost every kid is.
Yeah.
Do you have a memory? Do you have your first kind of like recollection of it?
Gosh, Finding Nemo was the first movie I saw in theaters. I was 3 years old. I know. That really does age me. I know.
Yeah, thanks for making me feel old.
Sorry, but It is true.
I just want to point out.
But you know what? I'm the product of two really amazing Disney fans whose wedding song was A Whole New World from Aladdin.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, so this has just been like a homecoming to my inner child, but also so special for them. They get to see the movie tonight for the first time. I'm just really excited to share it with my parents.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Where's Marilyn?
Marilyn.
Wow,
Hi, babe. Hi, honey.
Hi, Rachel.
Hi.
Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely, please.
If you could have one of Snow White's wishes come true, what would it be?
Oh, that's a very good question. Snow White does have a lot of wishes. She throws them all into her well. I think it would be that everybody was kinder to each other. I think everybody needs that nowadays, that we set aside our differences, because what we can inherit by putting aside the things we disagree on is bigger than any of us could ever imagine.
That is really
beautiful.
Nice. Thank you, and what a thoughtful question. Thank you so
Marilyn.
much. I love the story of your parents and their wedding song. That's insane, and they're going to be. They must be so proud of you.
I hope so.
but it also must be very meaningful to you, I would imagine. I'd love to hear your thoughts on seeing these kids are just looking at you with such awe. What does that mean to you?
I can't comprehend it. It does make me really weepy and emotional, but truly it's for them. You know, this movie is for the inner child in all of us, but also for this actual next generation that sits in front of us to understand what the meaning of fair is and how it really is about kindness. It's not about the way you look. It's not about the color of your skin. It's really just about being kind and, you know, using the voice that's hidden in your heart.
And using stories that are generational to tell people about kindness, to tell people about the good things in the world. That is hugely important.
It's what Disney does best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else have a question?
No.
No?
Nobody else.
Oh, no, we'll go
Oh, wait. I'll come down here if you have one. You can talk into my microphone. Here, I'll do this. Go ahead. What's your name?
My name is Ava.
Hi, Ava.
And I have a question.
Okay. Yes.
If you had one more dwarf in the movie, what would the name be?
Ava, that's an awesome question, by the way. I'd applaud that. That's awesome.
I think it would be silly. I think we need someone to make us laugh, you know? Yeah. I think silly's a good one.
Dwarf coming. There you are. Rachel, thank you for coming over. We cannot wait to hear you sing.
Thank you
Snow
so
White is in
much.
theaters tomorrow.
We're so happy Big Brothers and Big Sisters of New York City are here to enjoy this very special performance. Snow White star Rachel Zegler is here. She will sing one of her new songs from the movie. Here she is with Waiting on a Wish.
Little girl, little lonely well, with the same little tale to tell. Feeling trapped by the walls that hold her, feeling stuck in the story they've told her. Another day where she fades away, never daring to disobey. So she's dreaming all alone, sharing secrets with the stone. My father told me long ago I braved a bitter storm of snow. Is that a girl I'll ever know again? I'm waiting on a wish beneath 1,000 treetops, and as the silver sky stops, I send a whisper to the water. Waiting on a wish, holding out for someday, hoping somehow, some way, I'll become my father's daughter. I close my eyes and see the girl I'm meant to be. Is she a part of me I've yet to find? Wondering, will she appear, or will I be forever here, waiting on a wish? Waiting on a wish. Waiting on a wish.
Zegler! We're so thankful to have you.
And now Hulu's hit series Vanderpump Villa is officially coming back for season 2, traveling from the south of France to the hills of Italy. And we've got a first look at the brand new trailer.
This season, I've chosen this Italian castle.
This place is crazy.
I have a special VIP guest. She's my eyes and ears.
I'm excited to stick my nose where it doesn't belong.
Our next guest, the mom talks. They're naughty. You never let the back of house spill to the front. We are donezo.
What do you mean donezo?
Oh, wow. Season 2 of Vanderpump Villa premieres on Hulu on April 24th. Sam?
All right, Ginger, that was good. Let me see if I can double down. Now to famous magician David Blaine, maybe the most famous guy in the world who does magic, who's trekking around the world learning from local masters about new and unbelievable tricks. Now, we have a preview of National Geographic's David Blaine, Do Not Attempt. Here it is. He's one of the most prolific magicians on Earth.
David Blaine is 2 minutes into his breath hold.
Who made a name for himself by pulling off jaw-dropping stunts like this. And now he's at it again.
Wow! That looks so good!
In a 6-part National Geographic docuseries, David Blaine, Do Not Attempt.
Now, for the first time, I'm searching all around the world to seek out the most extraordinary people with the most incredible skills, performing things that seem impossible.
The show is part cultural immersion, part magical feat, but 100% David Blaine. With the master illusionist taking viewers around the world, learning from others who perform their own kind of special magic.
I wasn't surprised that Patrick would nail it right away. He's one of my favorite magicians and has created magic that performers around the world use every day.
You guys want to see magic?
Magic?
Magic.
Thank you. Whoa, it's a miracle.
Blaine sharing human connections in places like the Arctic Circle and in Brazil, finding inspiration in a fear-facing high diver.
And you're pushing yourself and you're doing things that nobody should do. And you will feel the impact of it, but you're creating what's real magic, and that's the beauty of it.
Sorry.
Why did you cry when I said that?
Because I heard this from a lot of people who compete with me, and they say the same words, like that I make things what seems impossible without training, with this kind of conditions, make through and push the sport to which, yeah, it's a...
You're gonna make me cry.
Wow, David. Okay, enjoying the beauty of magic and the wonder of it is something we all have in common, right? David Blaine, Do Not Attempt, premieres Sunday on National Geographic, and the next day, Disney Plus and Hulu. So coming up, you need to get your on-point look with Lori B, straight from the hit show Running Point. Lori, you're wearing one, they're wearing it, it's all back. We'll be right back.
All right, we're back now with Shop This Show. And this morning, it's a full court press. It's a full court press as we take style inspo from Kate Hudson, who is the cutest, and her new hit comedy, Running Point. Lori Bergamato is here to help us recreate some of the looks for less. You can shop all of these products by scanning the QR code. And we were all just saying the show is on point.
Oh, it's a slam dunk. And it's
exactly.
on point with the fashion.
Yes. Incredibly. Yeah. What do you think it is about the fashion that's connecting with all of us?
So this has gone viral. Like, everybody on the internet's talking about these looks. And we think it's because they're blending femininity, right, with wearability. Because sometimes it's...
And a little bit of a boss moment.
Yes, and I'm so glad you brought that up, because we actually, you know, intrepid reporting here on Shop This Show at Good Morning America, I spoke to the costume designer who did this show. His name's Salvador Perez.
Cool.
Yes, and it was so fun to get an inside scoop of what his vision was. And he said, to Lara's point, just because somebody's a boss and she's a woman doesn't mean she has to dress in all masculine looks and neutral drab colors.
he wanted to really infuse like color and amazing silhouettes and show women to be effortful dressers. He said, no more effortless fashion. It should look like you tried.
Effortful.
Because if you dress up, you're going to have fun, you're going to have a great day, and we're going to have a great morning. Like, wait until you see these looks.
Yes, we are, and he nailed it with that pink power suit. That's
Look
it.
at
And the pilot loved it so much.
So great. And this isn't the first episode, you guys. And Salvador told me that what he wanted to do here, she just gets newly appointed as the president, right? So he's like, I wanted her to have a suit, but she's still in her party girl era. He's like, so this is the suit she has in her closet. It's bright pink. And we love that. So on Winnetka, come on out, we approximated this look.
Come on.
From Amazon. So that look that Kate Hudson is wearing is from Soroya. Very expensive suit there. We got this for under $70 from Amazon. It's still that bright pink. It's oversized with what we're looking for, those silhouettes.
That's the jacket look, right? That sort of big boxy.
Exactly. And again, with a jacket, you can wear it with other things, Lara. So that's what we're trying to do, stretch that dollar and make sure you can wear it with jeans, you can wear it with a skirt, you can, really get a lot of life out of that. Also, we paired it with these white pumps from Nordstrom. That point toe is going to elongate the leg. Really adorable, and they're affordable. Everything here is, you can get it. It's accessible. We're not all the president of an NBA team,
by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say those you can go with a million things. Winnetka, you look great. Thank you so much. All right, so this next outfit we have, Kate's look here is from. It's a step up from the traditional white blouse. This is like a meeting scene.
Exactly.
He's got some really critical, if you will, accessories to talk about.
Oh yes, I love that. So for this look, she's in a page blouse there, and then that skirt is actually Victoria Beckham, which she makes beautiful clothes, but they do cost a lot of money. And then Salvador told me he accessorized it with a vintage belt because he's like, I wanted her to feel like she just went to her closet. She grew up in this house and she's got these things. But the thing that's really cool here is that she uses a Birkin bag. And you guys, we all know Hermes Birkin bags, the height of luxury, impossible to get, very expensive. He actually went to show creator Mindy Kaling because she has apparently a legendary bag closet. He was like, well, you know about Mindy's legendary bag closet. I did not. And she let him borrow her Birkin for the show.
That's cool.
So come on out, Lauren. Now, obviously, we also didn't have the budget for a Birkin.
No, but I like what you have.
But I'll get to that in a second. I want to talk about the outfit. This is from Mango at Nordstrom. It's on sale today, you guys, under $100.
Yeah.
Really frilly. He was leaning into that femininity again. The pencil skirt here is from J. Crew. It's under $75. And our belt is under $15
that is
from
a great
Amazon.
Belt.
Let me see that.
But yeah, it's really cute.
That.
It's all about that triangular shape, right? But this is called a firkin, ladies, because it is a fake Birkin.
Okay.
A Firkin.
And where did you find that?
We found this at Amazon, and this has gone so viral that we did have to wait a little while to get it, but it's back in stock, so you're going to want to get it today, everyone, because these things are just flying
out. And I really like the blouse. I like the blousey sleeve.
Isn't it beautiful?
I love the tie.
It just looks so great also pulled together. You could do all of these things with denim too.
Okay. Exactly, so separates as well. Thank you so much, Lauren.
Okay,
Thanks,
we
Lauren.
also see Kate Hudson's character in a tweed skirt, and you say this is a great transitional outfit.
Okay, so this is from Generation Love, Chanel-inspired tweed. She looks fantastic, but let's go ahead and bring our model out. Anastasia, come on out. We approximated this look from Bloomingdale's.
Oh, I love
Aqua Bloomingdale's. It's super affordable. It's actually a
I can tell you feel good too.
Yeah, she's working it. And then it's funny, Salvador told me Kate Hudson loved a high heel, but we also wanted to make this wearable for the average woman.
Those are cute.
So we did a kitten heel here from Macy's. Really, again, you can wear that all spring and summer long.
I like the gold detailing.
Affordable, wearable, because it's all about making sure you can wear these outfits, you guys. But like he said, effortful, get dressed up and have a great day.
Yeah, and every one of these pieces is wearable in a different way too, which I like about all of these.
And I got in on the look as well, friend.
Can we talk about that? Because I love that scene where she's wearing, there it is.
There it is. And that's actually a two-piece. So that's like a little bustier shirt and a skirt, but we got mine from Cider. It's all one piece, and it's under $35.
And it's a really great look, and it looks great on you.
Well,
and by the way, wow, in this tweed number. You look fantastic.
Everybody looks fantastic. Come on out, ladies.
Yes, thank you. And thank you to Kate Hudson and to Running Point and what's the
Salvador Perez.
Salvador, shout out to
Salvador.
You guys can shop all of these looks on our website. Lori did all the work for you, so just get out there and do it.
That was a good Thursday, wasn't it?
It really was.
Great.
Wow.
Have a great day, everyone.
Have a good day.
Bye. See you tomorrow.